Okay, hello, good evening, guys. All right, today is Sunday. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Okay, so this is, um, I want to look into the markets to see what we're expecting. The market opens tonight, right, again for the new week. Okay, so I want to look into the markets now and review a few pairs to, um, to show us what we are likely to be looking at in the markets, right, going into the new week. Okay, so of course we do this, I'll continue to do this, but as the market is opening, we want to know exactly what to expect. What are we going to expect now that the market is opening for the week? At least what to expect for the beginning of the week. All right. So let's go to the higher time frame. We'll do a couple. We'll do some kind of a multiple time frame analysis here, so we can see clearly what we will most likely be seeing. So now this is Euro USD. Is Euro USD, and this is the daily chart. Okay. So if we look at the market structure for Euro USD right now, we look at market structure for Euro USD. Let's mark that out and see what this is likely to give us. Okay. Now, in my experience, guys, when you are dealing with certain pairs like Euro USD, right, it is always best to look at them first and foremost from the very high time frame. From the high time frame, like the daily chart before you come to the 4-hour. It's usually difficult in my experience to trade these pairs only just looking at them from the lower time frame. All right, so that's the reason I do this. Of course, I'll go down to the lower time frame as well, but I like to start from the higher time frame. Okay. So from what we see here right now, we see that Euro USD has been in a serious uptrend. Okay. Now, this uptrend lasted for a while, lasted for many days, and for a while, what we have seen now is a range. We are seeing Euro USD in some kind of a range. Okay, this is what we are seeing. And then what we'll be expecting to see is more like a breakout of this point. When we see a breakout of this, we're not so sure. It looks like at this time, in addition to that, here is a structure. Okay, here's a structure. Okay, so we have a structure there. We have a structure on top here. Okay, more like a support resistance, basically. Okay, then we have lots of other points here, but what I will be looking at is this, guys. When we see a break, let's put up another structure right here. Okay, so when we see a break below this point, that's when we'll be looking for a sell. If it doesn't break here, guys, it's not looking like a sell. It's just a range. You can see all of this, almost the whole of last week. The last week was 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. This was the whole of last week, guys. This is a daily chart. This was the whole of last week. You can see there was no serious movement on Euro USD last week. All right. So we're not seeing a major move yet, right? So there might be a move up from the fact that we see a huge uptrend here, right? So we are not really seeing, there's no clarity yet as to what Euro USD is about to do. Okay, so it might buy up here, but when we see this trend line broken, that should tell us something. That should tell us we are expecting to see a buy above. Okay, even when we break this structure, guys, we are still going to be careful because there's a break this trend line. There's still going to be there's a structure here that needs to be broken before we can be looking for a buy scenario. All right, so Euro USD, in my opinion, right now is stuck in a trend, in a range, and there is no clear movement at this time. And the thing with trading with a trend is this. Whenever the trend is not clear, you are not able to make money. You don't want to make only 10 pips or that. And then even when you're making 10 pips, you are risking a lot because you don't know when the price, how far the price is going to go. All right, so that's what I see on Euro USD right now. We'll see that there isn't much in the way of movement right now on Euro USD. So what we're going to do is we might be expecting a break above this point and a retest, a break above this point in this direction, something like this. By the time it breaks like this, retest, we could see a buy all up onto this point. And that's just what it will be like. All right, that's what it will look like. A break like that, then a break below here also is a possibility. Okay, when we break this point and then we retest this point, we retest this, then we're going to be seeing a sell-off all the way to this point here. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm not looking to trade this resistance, this support here and this resistance here and all that. No, it's better to see a break, because when we see a break, that tells us that direction is about to start. Movement is about to start. Okay, that tells us that we're likely to see a significant move, a sensible, significant move, right? This is what I see on the Euro USD going into the new week. So we'll watch out for that and see how that plays out, guys. All right, so let's move on to, let's go to USDCHF. Okay, we'll remove the drawings. Let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart here. Okay, so there's something you need to know about USDCHF is that USDCHF does what looks like the opposite of Euro USD most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay, so now what do we see here? We see not really a serious move at this time. Okay, we see this structure. Let's try to put out the structure here and see what we have. Okay, we have this. Then we, okay. Okay. Now, of course, there are what I'm doing now is just the major structure. Now, there are smaller structures within here. There are smaller structures within. So when we go to the lower time frame, we'll be able to see smaller structures. But it's important to look at the overall structure on the higher time frame, okay, so that we can see clearly to a large extent what the market is doing for that pair. Okay, so that's the reason I'm doing this. So I want us to see clearly what is going on. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. Okay. All right, so what do we see? Okay, now we see several structures, but we're going to just focus on the structure that is most relevant to what we might be looking at trading in the new week. Okay, so of course, as we advance into the new week, we will definitely be looking more into the chart so we can see if there is a change in what we've marked up based on how price plays out. Of course, we are going to be we'll look at that as well. Okay, because that's going to aid our trading. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so far, what do we see? Also we are seeing that this is a range. This is the daily chart, guys, and you can see that even USDCHF did not make any serious move last week. No serious move last week. All right. So what we are expecting, what I am expecting to see right now is I'm going to be expecting to see a serious break above these two zones I see here. These two zones right here. Okay. These two zones. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Okay. Okay, so this is the 4-hour chart. So what I see here, guys, is for us to trade this properly, we need to see something like this. Okay, we need to see something like this, a break, a retest, and a continuation. This is the move that is going to give us significant pips. Okay, this is the move that's going to give us significant pips. If we trade this pair for reversal, we will not see any significant pips. Okay. Now it may come over here right now and then give us a pattern that is going to rise again. Now it will actually rise from there, right? But then that's not going to give us a significant amount of pips since we're only going to be seeing trades move all the way to this point. All right. So, but that could be good. We're going to be watching for that too. But the major moves is what we're talking about. The major moves are the breakout of these zones. Breakout of these zones. All right. So when there's a breakout of these zones, then we'll see significant moves. But if it doesn't break out of this zone and it still gets stuck in these zones, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for patterns, reversal patterns around these zones that tell us either to buy or to sell. Reversal patterns here. Reversal pattern, by reversal pattern, I mean good quality shooting star on the 4-hour, bullish engulfing on the 4-hour, and all of that, hammer on the 4-hour. Those are the patterns that we're going to be looking for in order to be able to enter a good sell, just the way we see here. We see this very we'll see a shooting star here. Okay, this for me is not a very good shooting star, but it's a shooting star. Then we see an engulfing pattern, and then all of this we see this drop. So we're going to be watching for that too. We might trade within here, but this is not where the main movement is. When we see a breakout of this structure, then that's when we're going to be seeing a move. All right. So we're going to be updating this as we progress during the week. Okay, guys. So let's move to the next one. We move to USDJPY. Okay. So USDJPY. Let's go to go to the daily first. Okay. On the daily, what do we have? Okay. Let's see what we have on the daily charts now. Okay. Let's just pick a point. We'll start from somewhere. Okay. 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 Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So what do we see now? Okay. What we see here is we see some kind of structure here. See some kind of structure here. Okay, so we're going to have to go to the 4-hour chart. Let's see what we have on the 4-hour chart. Okay, before we do that, let's try to mark out the structures that we have here. Okay, so we have this structure. Now, all of this depends on how much movement we see during the week. Okay, so we have another structure right here below. Okay, so let's go to the 4-hour and see what we have there. 4-hour chart. Okay. Okay. All right, so now we are seeing this. What I'm expecting to see now, guys, is we see this structure right here. We see this move all the way. Okay, so we haven't really seen, let's see if we have another structure here. Of course, we have several structures within. Like I said, what I'm just speaking on now is just the major ones, the major structures. All right, so now we are most likely going to see price move. Now we are seeing this engulfing pattern we're seeing here is a significant one. It's a significant one. But basically, we're going to watch what happens here. We watch what happens here, right? So currently, this engulfing pattern is showing us that price could go up, could go up right here, okay? So for me, I feel that price is most likely going to, sorry, for me, I feel that price is most likely going to come to this structure here. Now, guys, I have not drawn out all the structures. Okay, I'm just drawing out the major ones. But of course, since I've been drawing structures, I know where structure is without drawing it myself. All right, so we can see a structure here, a structure. There's a structure here right now. So we might see price bump all the way to this point. We might see price bump all the way to this point and then drop back down like this. Okay, and then drop down like this, and then we'll look at a retest of this structure and then a drop off this way. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be expecting to see. A buy up to this zone, then a pull back from there, a break of this structure, and it comes down. But then there is the possibility too that price could break this structure, come all the way here, okay, and then pull back from there as well. Pull back from there as well, okay, and then pull back from here as well, okay. So yes, there's a structure right here now. Okay, when we extrapolate that, we see that there's a structure actually up there. Okay. Okay. So this is what I'm sort of looking forward to right now. This is what I'm looking to see happen. We might see price break this point and come down, or get up to this point, then reverse and come down. Eventually, we'll see this. All right. So we'll see how price goes plays out during the week, and then we'll keep it updated. We'll keep our outlook updated. All right. So let's look at let's see how many other pairs we can look at. Let's look at GBPUSD. Okay, let's look at GBPUSD, or let's look at NZDUSD. Look at NZDUSD. We took some trades here last week. Okay, so let's look at this first on the daily chart. Okay, so on the daily, we can see that on the daily, this looks like the way EURUSD looked. Okay, so we have this structure right here. Okay, and we see this pull back, then we'll see this price gets there, right? Okay, so Here we go. So we haven't been seeing some significant moves. We didn't see much move last week, much moves last week. Okay, so what I'm looking at right now is probably there's a structure up here. Okay, it's actually a resistance up here. So um, we most likely will be seeing what price does around that point, and we have another structure under here. Okay, so price is already heading in that direction. Let's go to the 4-hour. Okay, so this is the 4-hour chart, and we can see price already heading in that direction. Okay, so when price gets here, most likely we're going to be seeing a sell-off. Most likely we're going to be seeing a sell-off from here. Okay, most likely we'll see a sell-off all the way to this zone. But then, looking at how price has played out since, you will see, guys, it's been a huge it's been a huge range. It's been a huge range. All right. So so there's a possibility too of a breakout here, a breakout like this, and a breakout like this, a retest of this structure, a retest like this, and a continuation. So I think that that is not far away. That's not far away. That's not far away. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. If we are going to make a sell here, that definitely we're going to see something like this. We're going to see a shooting star like this, a very strong reversal pattern, and an engulfing candle like this. A reversal pattern that makes sense is what we're going to be looking at in order to trade around here for a sell. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at, to trade around here for a sell. Okay, but in the absence of that, we will be expecting price to break this structure out, and then continue upwards. All right, so that's it about NZD. Nothing much about NZD. All right, so let's look at other pairs now. Let's look at the GBPUSD. GBPUSD, or let's look at Euro GBP first. Okay, Euro GBP first. Okay, so for Euro GBP, what do we see? On the daily chart, Euro GBP has actually been hit a major structure. So we'll see now. Okay, so you see that there's a major structure that was actually hit on major structure. This is a major structure. Okay, it's a major structure that was actually hit by Euro GBP. It's a major structure on the daily chart, very significant structure. All right, so and then we see a huge sell-off from there. Okay, so let's look at the structure. See the structure of that, and then we see a breakout all the way like this, continues like that. All right. So we have this coming down. We have this coming down. So what I see here, there are a couple structures here. There's one structure right here under here. One structure right here. Okay, so I think Euro USD is actually and Euro GBP is actually stuck somewhere within a structure right now. Let's go to the 4-hour chart so we can see that. Let's see what we have on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, okay, so what do we see now? What do we see? Okay, so we can see that at the close of last week, we were already seeing Euro GBP. It seems like it's breaking out of the structure, So it came all the way to this structure here, right? So what we are seeing now, it looks like a breakout. It looks like a breakout of this structure is happening already. So very simple with this one. I think what we are going to be looking at is just price breakout of here, retest. Right now, the break is not serious yet. We have to let it break out properly, and then we'll see a sell-off. Pretty much simple. I think that is what we've been expecting to see in the new week. All right, so probably a breakout, a severe breakout this way, then a retest and a sell-off. Okay, that's what I'll be looking at out for. Okay, but in the event that this breakout doesn't happen, then we're most likely going to be seeing price go back here. From here, maybe somewhere to the next structure. There's a structure here. Maybe not all the way up. Okay, maybe not all the way up, but maybe somewhere to this structure right here. We might see price buy again up to this structure here, then before falling off the cliff. Okay, so that's what we're seeing. But since we're already seeing this candle breaking out right now, breaking out of this structure, probably we are not going to we're going to see price start heading downwards, because it's been selling huge for over the past 1 week or so. It's been selling. Yes, throughout last week it was in a sell trend, so it broke out of this. It seems to be breaking out of this now, so let's see what happens when the market opens. All right, so that's for that. Okay, I think we'll look at one more. So GBPUSD. Okay, GBPUSD, let's go to the 1-day daily chart. Okay, so what do we see? We've seen a significant move in GBPUSD. This is a structure right here. And this structure actually on Fibonacci, this is actually a 61.8 structure. It's very, very strong structure here that we see GBP move here. See it move here on GBP. Okay, so basically we've been in a sell trend for a couple of weeks on GBPUSD. There are a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks. We've been on the sell trend on GBPUSD. All right, so let's see what we are likely to see going forward, going into the new week. Okay, so all right, so that's what we see. Okay, so what structures are we seeing there? Right now we're seeing a structure up there, then we're seeing a structure here, seeing a structure here, just below here. Okay. So guys, if you don't understand this structure very well, I'll be doing some real training in this direction in this new week. All right. So so that I know there are some of you guys that don't understand what I'm drawing exactly, but just hold on. I'm sure you'll be able to learn very soon in a detailed way. I'm working on something, guys. Okay, so we see another structure right here. Okay, so now let's go to the 4 hour. So go to 4 hours. Okay, so like I said, guys, this for these pairs, sometimes it's easier to just look at the major structures from the higher time frame. Okay, so you see how this is been playing out. Okay, so now we are going to be seeing something like now what do we see from what price is doing? What do we see from what price is doing? Let's not bother about this yet. So what do we see from what price is doing? So it looks like it's going to sell off from here. Looks like it's going to sell off from here, but last week we can see that there was no major move. Okay, so what I'm expecting now is this. I'm expecting price to go up this way, create another sell pattern. All right, create another, give us another structure. You can see here we had a serious engulfing pattern. This is a serious sell pattern that's telling us sell. All right, so I'm expecting price to move back to this same structure again for the second time and then sell off from there. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting to see. But the first point of call, first point of call will be somewhere around here, structure around here. So I'm expecting price to sell off and come all the way to this point. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting to see on on GBPUSD this week. So you see, expect price to get all the way to this point, then it comes right back. Last week there wasn't much movement. Okay, it was pretty slow. Okay, it was pretty slow. All right, so but let's see what happens this week. Who knows, we might see some movement this week. That would be really interesting to watch. Okay. Okay. All right, guys, these are some of the major pairs that we are looking at for the week, for the new week, and please take a look at what I've done, and I'm sure there's one or two things, a few things you can learn from this, and it will help you in your trading if you're currently trading, and it could help you in your trading for the new week, guys. All right. Have a good evening. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.